Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler from the Keep Pounding podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. And we are going to be talking about Fan Fest and joint practices that happened today with the Browns. So the fans are finally able to see the Panthers play live. And the Panthers, for the first time, got to have a bunch of fans watch them live. So a lot of good things that we saw during Fan Fest and a lot of good things that we saw during the Browns joint practice today. At least it was raining yesterday, and then today it stopped raining for the Browns during the joint practice, then went back to raining. So at least the rain kind of held up before while the Panthers were practicing with the Browns. But before we get into the content, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this channel with a friend, so that way I can be able to grow this platform and be able to talk to more Panther fans and engage with you guys. So do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you don't miss any content, any updated content going forward. So let's get into it. So before we talk about some of the news, want to talk about the Micah Parsons trade request. So Micah and Jerry Jones have been going back and forth here. Obviously, Micah, to me, one of the best, if not the best, non-quarterback in the league. His rookie contract, is about to end. He has one more year left on his rookie deal. And according to him on his podcast, he mentioned how he was trying to make create a long-term deal last year. And basically, long story short, Jerry Jones is saying that, hey, you're still on this rookie deal. It takes both parties to agree on this, and he didn't want to move. And that he said that he wanted to do that because he wanted to do what's in the best interest of the Dallas Cowboys. I can understand slightly what he's saying, but the best interest is if you know you're going to re-sign a guy, right? And he's a cornerstone, he's a pillar on that team. He's the best player on that team by far, right? You're not going to resign him. You want to resign him early. And Brant Tillis has mentioned this before regarding our players. You want to be able to sign players sooner rather than later, because if you don't, today's price isn't yesterday's price. It gets more expensive every month, every year. And to me, I know Jerry Jones has played these games with other, Des Bryant, Ezekiel Elliott. He didn't do it with Tony Romo. He didn't do it with Jason Witten. It's like he picks and chooses. But I do think one of the reasons, and I'm not going to speculate on others, which I'm sure we all can maybe figure out why. But one of the main reasons I feel like he does that is just for, he has an ego. Every billionaire does. He wants us to talk about the Cowboys. I'm doing it right now. He wants us to talk about the Cowboys. So the more we mention the Cowboys, whether it's good or bad PR, it doesn't matter. He wants you to talk about his team. And I feel like, because if you're really doing what's best interest of the Cowboys, you would have re-signed him by now. And then the tactics that you're going and how you're handling this situation by talking to him when you're sitting down having a conversation, then you bring up contract negotiations without his agent there, who's one of the best, if not the best agent. David, I forget his last name, David Milieta or something like that. That's not cool. You're putting him in a disadvantage talking negotiations for future contract without his agent there. It's inappropriate. Like, you can have maybe broad terms or broad discussions, but specific things, we know what you're doing, Jerry. You're trying to get one up on somebody, and it doesn't work. It's not going to work. And, Micah put in his trade request to Stephen Jones personally, he said. But again, I think do I really think he's going to get traded? No. I think, like I mentioned before, the players that Jerry Jones has done this before to, Des Bryant, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, they all eventually got paid and they got paid pretty very well. And that's what, from a football standpoint, I don't understand, because if you are going to sign them, you should sign them early so that way you're saving yourself money long term. The longer you wait, the more expensive it is. It's very, very simple. But again, I try to figure out why. Maybe Jerry Jones cares more about his team being in the limelight and being talked about through airwaves more than winning football games. It just makes sense, because if you're looking at this strictly from a football standpoint, you're an idiot, but doing what you're doing. And I get that he says like back in the day, you used to do handshake negotiations. No, this isn't back in the day, Jerry. This isn't back in the day. It's today. You talk to your agent. You talk to the player's agent. That's it. Now, the whole analogy thing, I don't know if you guys watched it, but Jerry Jones talked about how the analogy of y- between a mom and a dad, where, and I did not understand at all the analogy. I kind of, but not really. It was a poor analogy, but basically talked about you want to do something, your dad says no, so you go to your mom, and then you go back to your dad and say, well, mom said yes. Talking about how he went up to Micah and they had somewhat of an agreement, and then Micah goes, well, no, talk to my agent. The analogy, what Jerry is doing, he's looking like a complete moron. He needs to get away from the cameras. He needs to stop talking and just be a GM. But he can't, because all he cares about is his ego and talking and just being in the limelight, being in front of the cameras. That's what he does. He's not a good GM. He's not. Now, again, do I think the Cowboys trade Micah Parsons? Absolutely not. They'd be stupid to do it. I think minimum it would take 2 first-round picks and a day 2 pick, second or third. Now, should we trade for Micah Parsons? I think anytime you have a potential of trading for a player of that caliber, absolutely you should. Again, I think he's one of the best, if not the best, non-QB players in the NFL right now. It's just, what is it going to cost? And are we a player away from being Super Bowl contenders? Like, are we a Micah Parsons away? I don't think so. Now, we would definitely be speeding up our plan if we did this, because not only giving up that draft capital, you're giving up that money too, and you got to figure out how to make it work. But you got to pick up the phone and figure out what it would cost. But it doesn't sound like the Dallas Cowboys are entertaining ideas. I just, again, think this is just a topic. It's just something for us to talk about. So Jerry will have us talk about it. That's podcasters. That's social, throughout social media, ESPN. He wants everyone to talk about the Cowboys, and this is what he does all the time. And he has a history of doing it. Okay, so we got some future Panther players that could be that's going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame next year. You have Luke Kuechly, you got Greg Olson, Jared Allen was just inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. You have Steve Smith and Thomas Davis. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Luke Kuechly was eligible last year, but he didn't get in. Same thing with Steve Smith. I think this is going to be Greg Olson's first year and Thomas Davis's first year, but I could be wrong on that. But um, I find this really cool. We're getting some players, which the Panthers aren't really known for, but we're getting players around that 2015 season where we're starting to get some people inducted or eligibility for the Hall of Fame. So I thought that was really cool. Okay, so there was one roster move since the last time I saw you guys. It's inside linebacker Chris Barnes. So Chris Barnes, and this is much needed. This is definitely, to me, it's more of a depth piece. It's a veteran presence, and it's for special teams as well. So Chris signed. He's a former that we signed as a former Packers and Cardinals inside linebacker. He's only 27. He started 24 games the last 3 years. He spent the last couple years with the Cardinals with 6 starts a couple years ago. But to make room for him, we released a rookie linebacker Tuasivi Nomuro, I believe, which it was an undrafted free agent Panther favorite. One of the Panther, a lot of people really were excited to see if he could make the roster, but uh, they waived him in order to make room. So this he actually looked good during joint practice today, and we'll go into it in a little bit. But this is more of a special teams ace. He has good veteran leadership, has good um, experience, and he is going to allow there not to be such a big depth uh, talent drop off if Trevin Wallace or Christian Roseboom get injured. So this is much needed. I still think there's still some work to be done. I still think like they could make another signing depending on who, as we start to get to the 53-man roster. We'll see if some teams let some inside linebackers go. I think they're going to look at that, and then I think they make a trade. Maybe I just don't think it's going to be a significant one. This is going to be something that I think that they're just going to kind of gamble with this position right now, because I still think this is going to be a position that the Panthers are really going to heavily attack next season. So there's a lot of what ifs with this. You have can Trevin Wallace and Christian Roseboom stay healthy? That's one. But then two, can Trevin Wallace make that next step? If he can make that next step, this position isn't going to be so depleted, and so it's not going to hurt as much. But there's still a lot of question marks at this position. So I still think the Panthers are going to look for more depth. I still think they're still going to make another move or two regarding the inside linebacker position. Okay. So I want to talk about a few things here. So I saw on social media a lot of people overreacting to Bryce Young throwing interceptions in training camp. And I'm not really stressed out about this, because I just want to talk about this point real quick. You don't know the context, the nuance, and the reasoning why they do certain things in practice, right? Could he have made a couple bad throws? Sure. Is the linebacker, is the corner making a good play? Maybe. But you don't know like what position, the reasoning for those interceptions. Lamar Jackson had tons of interceptions during training camp this year. Are you stressed out about that? If you're a Ravens fan, no. People need to relax and not worry about this too much. Bryce Young, from everything I hear about from all reports, that he's looking really confident. He is looking sharp. He has a little bit more zip on his throw. He's going through his reads a lot faster. Let's pump the brakes and not worry about interceptions in training camp. Okay. Now, if if you're seeing a bunch of tape and clips of him just not really registering what's going on and being able to dissect a play and poor read, poor throw, and it's happened consistently, that might be something. But, oh man, he threw three interceptions today. Well, you don't know the reasoning why. Could it be the defender, like everybody knew what that play was going to be, especially the defender, and they were just like, hey Bryce, try to see how tight of a fit you can throw this ball, try to challenge it. You don't know that. So people need to pump the brakes on the interceptions with Bryce Young in training camp. Just pump the brakes. Now, one thing that I am stressing a little bit about is this kicking position. I mentioned it on the last video. I'm going to mention it again today. So I understand the day before Fan Fest that practice, it was raining a lot. I think one of the kickers was like 2 of 5 on the skinny post. I'm not going to read too much into that, but I'm just stressing about no one's really pulling away. And today was the first time that Matthew Wright got 5 out of 5. It's been 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 this whole camp, it seems. And none of these players, Ryan Fitzgerald from Florida State or Matthew Wright from that we signed from Tennessee, no one's really taking the spot. No one's just running with the spot. I do think this is Ryan Fitzgerald's job to lose. I just think, and Matthew Wright, in my opinion, took a little step forward right now from this past practice to yesterday's practice. But this is something where I'm kind of concerned about what's going on here. And as fans, I think we're really, and rightfully so, like we're really excited about the new defense, new offensive weapons, Bryce Young resurgence, but there's going to be close games, and kickers can win or lose you games. And I'm not feeling too confident where if we're, you know, we need to tie a game to go in overtime, or if we're, a kick wins the game and it's 48 yards away, 45 yards away, 50 yards away. I'm not feeling confident at all about our kicker right now, whether it's Matthew Wright or Ryan Fitzgerald. So this is something where I'm hoping one of those guys just steps up. Ryan Fitzgerald looked really good during college in Florida State. He was very accurate. He was really good with the deep ball. When he is missing, he's not missing short. He's hitting. He has this really strong leg. It's just, and again, they're skinny posts. A part of it is it's a skinny post and would have been a good field goal. Would if you made it, if it was just a regular field goal post. And I know that Joe Person tweeted before that, yes, that he was 2 of 5, and I think 2 of them would have been good if it was a regular field goal post. But at FanFest with Ryan Fitzgerald, people there, and they actually had a position where, hey, he had to kick it to win the game or kick it to go overtime. I can't remember which one it was, but he missed from 48. He was 2 of 5, I think, in at FanFest. No, he was 3 of 5 at FanFest. He missed a 48 and I believe a 45-yard field goal. And then during the rain, he was 2 of 5. So I'm a little stressed. I'm saying I'm about moderately stressed right here about the kicking position. Hopefully, one of the during preseason, this coming up Friday, that the kickers are put in a position to make some field goals, but hopefully sooner rather than later, one of these players takes over the position. So I'm stressing out a little bit about this. Okay, so I want to talk about FanFest a little bit. I have a couple of clips that we're going to go over here and just dissect a little bit here. And these are courtesy to, I believe, one of them I'm not too sure, but it's mainly PNP. Rashad from PNP. So this is clips that I use from his Twitter. So I appreciate the content, Rashad. But the first one, I'm not sure who it was from. It was someone on Twitter. So I apologize if you're watching this, and I want to make sure I give you credit. I just forgot where I got it from. I didn't write it down, but a few other ones are from the PNP podcast. Rashad, he videotaped these. So let's go over some of these. So this is the play where XL ran an out route and ran back in, and this is what we need to be able to put him in a position to do. Create separation. Okay. Oops. Not this one. Create separation. And look at this. Mike Jackson made a little bit of poor decision there, but he's got the speed. So I know I mentioned before that XL, T-Mac, they are similar, but they're different. And XL is faster than T-Mac. So if we're able to get XL the football in space and get him maybe 2, 3, 4 strides of running in, it's going to be very hard to bring him down. And we'll go into a couple of clips here in a minute, but XL, I'm really excited about his development. I really, really am. He's looking more and more like Hollywood Brown and DK Metcalf. And if he can develop into that, which I believe he can, I am really excited about this. But this is the type of play that I want to see from potentially number one wide receiver, just in space, outruns the rest of the defenders. So love to see that. This is XL going fake to go in, and then he beat Mike Jackson here. And a lot of people here overreacting. A lot of people. So if you see here, you'll see Mike Jackson gets beat. He's got 2 steps on him, but you see he grabs his left arm and holds it. And then XL has only his right arm that he needs to be able to catch the ball. The left arm is being grabbed. So that is clearly defensive pass interference. And I get fans that were in attendance. You may not have seen that watching that live. You're probably not going to see that unless you're like maybe this guy over here. He should have seen it. he was a little upset. But that people started getting back on the train of, oh, XL can't catch. Here we go again. Pump the brakes, people. Pump the brakes. Before you guys are so critical of a player, do your homework before you start calling out a player. And I can be guilty of this too, but I'm just saying, pump the brakes. First diagnose and figure out what happened and then criticize. You can be in the moment like upset. That's cool. But to be like, oh, here we go again. There's so many people on Twitter during FanFest that are like, oh, XL dropped a perfect touchdown pass by Bryce Young. Well, first of all, when he ran here, you can see him slowing down. Right here, he kind of slowed down a little bit right there. If he threw a little bit further, Mike Jackson would have been able to grab his arm. But because he had to slow down, Mike was able to grab his left arm. So, and this isn't a shot at Bryce, but that wasn't a perfect ball, but it was a really good ball. But look at that separation. Look at that separation, dude. Like, look at this. Look at the separation. Had a little slip there. Like, this is what I'm excited to see this year. And you guys need to be too. Just pump the brakes with XL, please. Pump the brakes. Okay. All right. So this was Andy Dalton, and he's going to be throwing to Jimmy Horn here. He's going to run an out route. And to me, this was just blown coverage. Like, this is great to see. Jimmy Horn, I'm really excited to see him during preseason. But you'll see here. You'll see here. Okay, pause it here. This guy is covering him right now, but he's going to blitz inside. And then this guy is he should be here, but you see him drift off this way. And so that cleaves this whole area open over here. So again, you'll see here, he's going to blitz inside. And then you're going to see 29 over here. I can't remember who that is, but he's going to drift off. Oh, no, he follows T-Mac. I believe that's T-Mac. I don't remember who that is. So, but it was a blown coverage. That's what it seemed like. But I was excited to see Jimmy Horn get some playing time out there, get some catches, get a touchdown pass. I'm really excited about this kid's development, not just at receiver, but a punt returner, kick returner, which we'll go into a minute here. And then this is, whoops. Okay. So this guy here, James Mitchell. So this is a guy that we picked up from the Lions, who I'm really excited about. So he's tight end 3 right now for my roster update. We'll go into the other roster update in a second. But he's my tight end 3 because he is here to help replace Tommy Tremble. In my opinion, I really feel like Tommy's going to be on the PUP list. That's just my opinion. I just feel like they're really set at tight end. They're not really in a need to rush him back. They really haven't mentioned too much about Tommy. You got Jatavion Sanders that's been playing well. You have Mitchell Evans, the rookie we just signed, who's been playing really well. And then you have James Mitchell that's been playing well. And this is what I like to see here. He's just going to go and just run a go route and just find the soft part of the zone. Perfect throw, great catch. And again, this is I'm excited to see this. But just a great throw and catch here. He's a big body receiver. He's good at blocking. And I believe the Lions. Look at that. Great catch. But I believe the Lions, a lot of Lion fans were kind of upset that they gave up on James Mitchell already. So I'm really glad. I'm really happy about our tight end room. I think it's going to be I think it's a strength right now. It's young, and I think it's still growing and developing. But with this group right now, and I think they'll keep 3. I think they will keep 3 on the roster. But there's no need to rush Tommy right now. No need at all. Okay. So let's get into the joint practice here. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the joint practices. Again, these are clips from the Panthers on Twitter. Joe Person, Mike K, and Alex, I think, are a few of them as well. Again, any B writers out there that if I took your video and not giving you credit, apologize. I need to do better about maybe having it and post it right here. So I apologize about that. But just going to go into a few clips here. So this is Bryce to XL here. And again, touchdown pass in between two defenders, finding the soft part of the zone. Great throw by Bryce. Great catch by Xavier. And again, it's just great to see this chemistry to continue to develop, but doing it against new talent, a different team. So that was good to see. This one, I believe, is a deep throw from Jalen Coker, and great catch. Jalen Coker, and we'll talk about it in a little bit here. Jalen Coker has been a very quiet resurgence, not resurgence, but like he's just been really, really good this training camp and off season. And, you know, people need to remember how good he was last season. People forget how good of a player this guy is. He's an amazing player. He's not going anywhere. Okay. And then the other one, Coker again from Dalton. Great catch. Again, like the depth at receiver is just so good. The depth is amazing. So I'm really excited to continue to see Coker during the preseason. Dave Canales did mention that they're going to be playing the starters this preseason roughly around 8 to 12 snaps. So if it's a very short, and if it's like a 3 and out, they're going to go out again. But if they run, 6, 7, 8 plays on their first series, he's going to take them out after that. And they're going to play, the starters are going to play the first 2 preseason games. And after that, the third preseason game, they're not going to play. So I do like that they are doing this because we saw how slow of a start they were last year. And I feel like last year was even more important to get them in the preseason, the starters to play in the preseason, specifically Bryce Young, because it's a new offense, new coaching staff. I think that Dave Canales learned from this and adapted. So I like this, but it's get their feet wet, get the ball rolling. So that way, week 1, it's not like now I'm doing this. They get their feet wet a little bit. But I've been hearing on Twitter, is Jalen Coker, is Hunter Renfrow and Jimmy Horn, like, because they're like the resurgence of them, right? Hunter Renfrow is becoming the new Hunter Renfrow. Jimmy Horn is really impressing. And people are like, is Jalen Coker going to be on the team? Is Jalen Coker going to even get playing time? I just want to leave this right here for you, okay? How many drops did he have last year? He was the best rookie wide receiver we had over XL. He was consistent. He was a really good route runner as a rookie. He's faster now. He seems like a little bit more faster and athletic and stronger. Don't sleep on Jalen Coker, guys. Jalen Coker is legit. He is not going anywhere. They would be absolutely stupid getting rid of this guy or trading him, or even not getting him on the 53-man roster. Last year, he was an undrafted free agent, and luckily, when he didn't make the initial 50, or I don't know if he made the initial 53, they let him go, and then they picked him off waivers, and he didn't get signed. That's not going to happen if he gets if they do that again this year. They're not going to do it. But if they were, he's going somewhere else. Jalen Coker, don't sleep on him. Just because he's not on the highlight reel, again, they're just posting videos and highlights of players that people are excited about. Don't sleep on Jalen, guys. Don't. I'm telling you, he's not going anywhere. So going into joint practice, I heard T-Mac had an up and down day by Joe Person, and it's going to happen. He's a rookie, but he had some amazing catches. I didn't see from the reports that I've read, right? So I'm not there. I'm not watching the practice, but based on the reports that I'm reading from the B writers, he had a really good day. He had a couple touchdown catches. I think maybe I did see a clip too crazy, but this I thought this is what this is something that you can't teach. 6'4", 220 pounds, and look at his length and look at that catch. I am so excited to see this guy live, not just Friday, but just this year. I'm just so excited to see him play. Uh, Obviously, like he's not a finished product. They're going to be working on separation and being able to use his leverage to separate. But this is somebody that's starting week 1, and I'll get into the depth chart here in a little bit. But T Mac, Bryce Young's got a nice weapon here. Nice weapon. Okay. So another thing that I saw on Twitter here was that Chuba, he made a catch in the flat that went a few yards. This is according to Alex Seitlow from the Charlotte Observer. He tweeted this out. So Chuba Hubbard makes a catch in the flat, goes a few yards, talks a bunch to his defender, hands the cornerback the ball. This sounds familiar. And then the cornerback throws the ball at Chuba's helmet. Another brief scuffle. Hubbard smiles as he agitates the opponent. Remind you of anyone, Panther fans? Yes. So this is what I want to see. Like this attitude, like this confidence, just this energy is what you want as a Panthers fan. You want this team to be physical, and that's what Dave Canales is preaching and wants this team to be. He wants this team to be a physical football team, and that's how you do it. Not just running down the throats and not being just physical, but just the attitude and the relentlessness and going after your opponent. I love this, but reminds me a little bit of Steve Smith trash talk, who was out there today. Little Josh Norman trash talk. I love that. That's the personalities are starting to come out now. Now that you know second year in the offense, your trajectory is going upwards here. So the players are really, really excited. It's definitely a new energy than definitely compared to last year and years prior. Okay, so this is what I was mentioning earlier. Matthew Wright, who was 5 for 5 today on the standard goalpost, but uh, and again, this if you've seen the skinny posts, they're like maybe half the size of the regular goalpost, like maybe even less than half. They're really small. But again, today was the day that Matthew Wright, I feel like took a tiny step forward in taking this position, and I think it was the first time that a kicker made all their field goals. So this was finally good to see. But again, I'm still stressed out about this. But well, the one thing I didn't know, and I was doing a little bit of research going into this, Matthew Wright has been on this football team before through the practice squad. So Eddie Pinero, back in 2023, I believe, he was injured, had a hamstring issue into one of the games, and we didn't have a kicker. And so they signed him off the squad, and so he eventually they took him off the practice squad, and he went to Tennessee. But he is they do have familiarity with him. So again, hopefully he can take over. And when I read his career stats and field goals was 40 out of 46, which isn't terrible. It's not. I believe he played for the Packers as well. But 40 out of 46, that's 80, almost 87% field goal percentage, which isn't bad. It's just, can you make the important ones? So, but it was good to see that he was able to do that today on the skinny post. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna go into it here. So we're gonna go into the defense. So that I put up the offensive clips that I saw on Twitter. We're gonna go into the defensive clips here. So Mike Jackson here with great coverage. You'll see breaking up the pass here, and again, a little taunting, a little trash talk. I love it. I love it. This is what I want to see. So again, Mike Jackson, I feel like Mike Jackson right now, I feel like he's playing in mid-season form the way he played last year. The energy, the physicality, he again, like, and I wouldn't say I was rough on him before because I did advocate getting another cornerback because you always want to challenge your roster, right? And I feel like Mike Jackson was a decent CB2. I just feel like it would be nice to try to improve upon that and get a better corner because Evero's system requires really good corners. But I might have to take back a little bit of what I said. Is he's definitely playing a lot better than I thought he would be this early on. So this is I'm really excited to see this out of Mike, him and JC, which brings me to if you guys haven't heard, you probably have already, but JC Horn was in a car accident earlier this morning. If you're watching it yesterday morning, literally a mile down the road before he got to the practice field. Luckily, no other injuries that's being reported as of now. He just had to get stitches on his left thumb, I believe. But with car accidents, things can linger after a day or two. So, and what I mean by that is, you may have a fender bender, got in a little accident. You're like, I'm okay, a little bruised up, a little sore, but nothing crazy. But the next day, or even the next 5 days, but typically the next day or two, and you wake up in the morning, you're like, what the hell? I felt like you got hit by a truck. So we'll see how he looks. And what next time we talk to Dave Canales, he's not going to be playing Friday against the Browns, unfortunately, which is a bummer. But which will be good opportunities for the younger corners, Shamar Bartholomew, Corey Thornton. But we'll see how JC feels tomorrow and the next day. So prayers up to him. I'm glad nothing serious, but just hope he's okay. Glad that he was at practice and just kind of walked around. They checked him out, but just glad and thankful that he's okay. So, but again, Mike Jackson, this cornerback room right now, and even the depth, it's not bad. And this is a testament to the scouting department, Dan Morgan, being able to find depth pieces so that way there isn't that significant drop off from starter to backup. Okay, this is Ashawn Robinson here. So I've heard a lot of good things about him from Dave Canales. That's a decent rep there, showing his power again. He's going to be a guy that's going to plug up the holes, get to the quarterback a little bit, but he's just more of a run stuffer, but really, really, really physical. So behind him is going to be that's also there is going to be Wharton. So, and we'll go into the depth chart here in a minute. But the defensive line, the front, is looking pretty solid. It's looking pretty solid. This is Cam Jackson. Boy. Oh my gosh. So Cam Jackson. This was the best thing I saw on Twitter today from the joint practice. When I saw this reminded me of 2023 Cam Jackson. And I can't remember if he played for Duke or not. I want to say he did. But so back in 2023, Cam Jackson was just, to me, I want to say that they thought he was going to be a first round draft pick or like day 2 pick. We ended up picking him, I think, in the 5th round, something like that. Yeah, I believe it was the 5th round. But this dude is like 6'6", 320, 330 pounds, super physical, as you can see here. Just a physical freak. He's a run stuffer guy. And this is the guy that you're developing behind Bobby Brown III here. But when he got injured, he wasn't the same player. And when I was watching his tape, even before we drafted him, before his injury, he just played relentless. He played strong. He had a high motor. And you can see in his 2024 tape that he didn't play with that same motor. It's almost like there was a little bit of like, not that he was scared, but like he was timid a little bit. And I'm not sure if there was an injury that was still lingering there, or if he was just afraid to go 100% because of it. And I can't remember what the injury was exactly, but this rep right here, this is the rep here that reminds me of 2023 Cam Jackson, what he did to other people. Like, this guy's an athletic freak. And I can't wait to see him this preseason under the lights and with the fans in attendance going, in the live game. I can't wait to see how he plays. But this is a rep of what can be. telling you that right now. This is a rep of what it can be. All right, so this one is with Princely. So this was Princely, I believe the left tackle. I can't remember his name, but this guy is a massive human being. But here you can see like there's a little bit of face, like hands in the face, or like going into the face mask and hit his eye here. And whoops. So you'll see here, not the initial contact, but the contact after, right in there. You can see it got his. To me, I feel like that would have been a penalty call right there because his hands in the face. But again, Princely is somebody I'm really excited to continue to watch, not just during the offseason, but throughout the season. A lot of fans are really high on him because he just has a really good personality. He's already, seems like he's very comfortable here, gets along with, the teammates, but even social media, like he's defending like former Panther players like Cam Newton. Like he's a Panther. He's like, I'm drafted here. I'm a Panther, and he's not shy. And he's someone that is the type of player that we needed last year, someone that can get after the quarterback. So this is one of the fan favorites from this past draft. But this wasn't the best rep in the world. But again, massive human being over here. But I also feel like that was a penalty. And then this is someone that is Shy Tuttle. Not a bad rep. It's not a bad rep. He's pushing him back. But again, with Cam Jackson playing like that, I don't know if Shy Tuttle makes the initial 53-man roster, bro. I don't know if he does. Now, I want to say based on we did last offseason not renegotiate, but like kind of like what's the term I'm looking for? They redid his contract a little bit and made it where it was cheaper for them. But as of right now, even if they cut him, they're not going to really gain any more money from it. So I do think from that aspect, there's that increased probability that they could keep him still. But right now, for me, he's still backing up Bobby Brown the third, but it's going to be, I think, sooner rather than later that Cam Jackson takes that spot. Again, Shy Tuttle is not the greatest nose tackle. He was our nose tackle last year, and it wasn't good. Wasn't good. This is another one of our inside linebackers, Income, I believe, 48. I did initially think this was Chris Barnes that we just picked up, but then I did see Mike K on Twitter say that was Income. I can't remember 48. He's one of the, I believe, inside linebackers. So it's good, again, seeing depth, being able to, if we want to be able to get a linebacker to get to the quarterback, be able to get to the right tackle and get pressure on the quarterback. So there's some good depth reps there. This is Bobby Brown the third. This guy is our nose tackle. This guy right here is super important to what we want to do defensively. Super important. Nose tackle, again, I felt like was one of the most important positions that we needed to address. And Bobby Brown is definitely the guy that is a huge upgrade compared to Shy Tuttle. Huge upgrade. So hopefully he can continue to stay healthy. But this, again, like just the power of him just pushing him back. Like that's what you're looking for. That's what your nose tackle that's what you want from your nose tackle. Be able to have penetration up the middle and clogging the holes and stuff in the run. So love this rep here. Now, I want to get into some preseason matchups here. I'll talk about a few things. So one of the main matchups I'm looking for here is Icky versus Myles Garrett. This is going to be a huge challenge. Obviously, Myles Garrett is to me, top 5 edge rushers in the NFL right now. Maybe even top 3. Okay. Can Icky minimize the impact, right? Now, I'm not too sure if Kevin Stefanski is going to start Myles Garrett or not. Um, and I didn't hear too much about what happened during practice or the reps during practice. If there were one-on-ones, nothing was reported. But this is something where hopefully Stefanski will play at least his starters for at least a series. We'll see. But this is a matchup I would be looking forward to. And also T Mac versus Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward is a great corner. Obviously, T Mac, I want to see how he does against a really good corner. Hopefully, again, Stefanski will play his starters at least for a series. Hopefully. And I didn't see too much about T Mac versus Denzel in 1v1s, but I'm sure that he did. I just didn't hear any reports about it. The drops he had, I'm not sure who was covering him when he had the drops, and some of the catches I couldn't tell who the defenders were. So, but this is a matchup that I'm really looking forward to on Friday. Again, barring and hopefully the Browns will play their starters at least for a series or two. Okay, so I want to go into the depth chart was released yesterday or a couple days ago. If you're watching this now, this tomorrow, which will be the 7th. So this will be being recorded Wednesday night. So, but the depth chart was released yesterday, the 5th, and there were some surprises. But before I even knew, while I was making these slides, before I even knew that it was released, I made this slide before I saw the depth chart release. So this is going to be, in my opinion, the depth chart. Not too many crazy changes, but one of the things you probably notice right now is me having XL at wide receiver 1 and T Mac wide receiver 2. Until I see T Mac live, I'm not changing this. You can show me clips and highlights. Again, the fans aren't there, but until I see him under the lights against live action, I I'm not going to change him to wide receiver 1 right now. XL, if his hands are drastically improved, I think you make XL1 right now, but also T Mac has the ability to line up outside in the slot. And I think they're going to use him a lot for like uh, uh, mismatches, but also to create other opportunities for other players. So depending on what the defense does with him, so I think they're going to use him with a lot of different formations and looks to be able to open things up in the Canales offense. But obviously, you got Ike Ekwonu at left tackle. You got Damian Lewis at left guard. Corbett, as of right now, is winning the center position. I haven't heard too much about this, and I would love the beat writers to ask the question about what's the center position battle been so far, because again, Austin Corbett had 2 back-to-back ACL season-ending injuries, and then Caden Mays last season was able to step in and play very, very well against top-tier talent. And for me, I really like Cade Mays, the way he played last season, and he was healthy. To me, I would place him at starting, but based on the reports that I'm hearing, not just that Austin Corbett is the front runner to win the job right now, but just how athletic and strong he looks, how fast he is. Um, from everything I'm reading, it sounds like he's the real deal, which he didn't seem too bad before his injury. But the way that Cade Mays played last season, I just prefer him right now, unless I see otherwise. But you have Corbett at center, Robert Hunt, obviously a right guard, Taylor Moton, right tackle, obviously, which might be his last season's. I hope not. Hopefully they can work something out, but this might be the last year we see him in uniform. And then obviously Bryce Young and Chuba Hubbard. So going into the Panthers' unofficial depth chart, T Mac is wide receiver 1, XL is wide receiver 2, and then in the slot you have Adam Thielen. And this isn't too surprising, right? And then nothing changed with my offensive line: Icky, Lewis, Corbs, Robert Hunt, Timo, and then Jatavion Sanders, who I had, Bryce Young, and Chuba Hubbard. So nothing too surprising, but I really want to look at the second string here. So again, I won't look too much into this, but it does make sense. Wide receiver 4, David Moore. 5, Hunter Renfrow. 6, Jalen Coker. And then you have Mitchell Evans, tight end 2. What I did find somewhat surprising was Brady Christensen, left tackle, which makes sense. I mean, actually, it's not surprising, but I can see him he's considered backup left tackle. But to me, again, he can play any position so if there's an injury, I think he gives you position flexibility. So he can play left tackle, left guard, center, pretty much every position. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And then James Mitchell that we talked about before. He's wide tight end 3, and I think he'll make the team, but I think they'll eventually release him once Trimble comes back. And then so you have the wide receivers going back to 1 T-Mac, 2 XL, 3 Thielen, 4 David Moore, 5 Hunter Renfrow, 6 Jalen Coker, 7 Jimmy Horn. I believe Jimmy Horn is here. David Moore is here. Now, David Moore hasn't had a bad camp at all, okay? Don't get it wrong. David Moore is a solid veteran. He has a great relationship with Dave Canales. Yes, he had some crucial drops last season, but he's not a scrub. He did play special teams, obviously, last year, but he's not the best special teams guy, which we'll go into the depth chart here in a second with that. But I do believe this will be over here. I think if we pick 7th is David Moore. Jimmy Horn is making the team. So I'm going to tell you guarantees. The 6, T-Mac, Adam Thielen, XL, Hunter Renfrow, Jalen Coker, and then Jimmy Horn Jr. And if we get 7, David Moore. What is more likely to happen is David Moore is cut. He will most likely not get picked up in waivers, and then we pick him up after that, and he gets put on the practice squad from there. Is what I think would most likely will happen, but we'll see. Now let's go into the defense depth chart, my depth chart first before we get into the unofficial depth chart. So the one thing I will correct myself. So I forgot to change this, and I just remembered just now, and we'll address the defensive line right here. I had Travell Wharton beating A'Shawn Robinson. This is A'Shawn Robinson right here, and I believe you will see him. He's on the depth chart in front of A'Shawn Robinson. But the way Wharton has been playing right now, I just don't see A'Shawn Robinson beating out Wharton for the starting position. I mean, don't get me wrong. Wharton is going to make the team. We paid him a very hefty price. We overpaid to get him, but I still think he's a better player than A'Shawn Robinson. But with all that said, that gives us really good depth along the line. But obviously, Derek Brown's going to be a defensive end. I put DB. That should be D tackle. Bobby Brown III at nose tackle. And then I believe Travell Wharton will be our other defensive end. Then you have DJ Wanham that's going to be the edge. And then behind him, you'll have Nick Scorton, Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom. And then you're going to have Chris Barnes behind these two. Then you have Patrick Jones II that we got from Minnesota. And then Princely, I believe, will be behind him. Then you have J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson, no surprise. Trayvon Morig, and Damani Richardson, I have starting at free safety. Now let's look at the depth chart, the unofficial depth chart the Panthers released. So let's go back to the line. So you had A'Shawn Robertson, Bobby Brown III, and Derek Brown, which is who I had on here, who I had over here. But what I think will happen is I think Tershawn Wharton is going to beat out A'Shawn Robertson, in my opinion. I just think that's going to happen. Patrick Jones II behind, then Princely behind him, DJ Wanham, Nick Scorton behind him. Nothing too surprising there. I do think DJ Johnson there is a possibility that he may not be on the team. I do think, however, he will make the team. He's a good run defender, and we sucked against the run, and it would be stupid for us to get rid of a really good run defender. But I do think DJ Johnson makes the team. Then you have Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom, but I know Claude and Chairless, the Chairless had an injury. I don't know if it was hamstring or what, but they have Chris Barnes over here. I think Chris Barnes will make the team. I do think he'll make the team. These other, Jacoby Windman, I don't think so. Bam Martin Scott, maybe. I think that's a possibility. Um, I do think he could make the team, but I do think Chris Barnes will be the second string behind Trevin Wallace and Christian Roseboom. You have Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, no surprise, but and I understand Shaw Smith Wade, you're going to have nickel here, but Shamar Bartholomew, bring him over here. Corey Thornton, bring him over here. Corey Thornton and Shamar Bartholomew are making the team, in my opinion. The way they've been playing during camp, and again, we'll see how they play during preseason, but based on how they've been playing during camp, they're making the team. Corey Thornton all the way down at fourth string, no, bro. Shamar Bartholomew at third string, no, bro. I don't even know who AK Leb Williams is, Evans is. I haven't heard anything about him in camp. Shamar Bartholomew is ahead of him, unless I just see something ridiculous during camp. This is, don't read too much into the cornerback thing. Now, Trayvon Morig, we obviously agree there, but then they had during FanFest Nick Scott starting at free safety. Nick Scott. What? This is a joke. This is what I don't understand. And I haven't heard it again. The beat writers are only allowed to report so much and tape so much. I get it. I remember Nick Scott from last year. He was okay. Demani Richardson looked good last year. And I've been hearing nothing good but good things this training camp. I think Demani Richardson's going to go here. And Nick Scott is going to third string. I think Lathan Ransom beats out Nick Scott, based on what I'm hearing too. I wouldn't read too much into this, but the one thing that I was really upset about in a second here. So this is my depth chart for special teams. You obviously have I do think Jimmy Horn Jr. is going to take punt returner, kick returner. Obviously you have JJ Jansen. That's going to be the long snapper, of course. And then the punter is Sam Martin. That's a gimme. But I do believe Ryan Fitzgerald at the end of the day will win the job. Now, he's making me a little bit nervous, especially with how Matthew Wright played today. But he needs to step it up. I do really believe that Ryan Fitzgerald, it's his job to lose. And I really thought it would be a lot easier for him to take the job than how it's been going. Again, based on how he played during college and how consistent he was, I'm just shocked the way he's playing right now. So hopefully he gets his confidence up and he's able to play the way that he can. But I do think if there's somewhat of a tie here, that you have the rookie, you take the rookie, right? But whoever the best player is, win. But the kicker position is up for grabs. I really don't know who's going to take it. I really don't. But 1 second here. Let me go back. My fault. I don't know what happened. Okay. All right. So they have Raheem Blackshear, punt return, kick return. What? I don't even think Raheem Blackshear is going to make the team, bro. You really, Raheem Blackshear is you put on your starter, kick returner, punt returner? At least put David Moore there. This is who he is. This guy is going all the way over here. I understand Hunter Renfrow, that could possibly do it. I do think Trevor Etienne will work his way up here. I don't think you'll see Rico Dottle do it, to be honest. Could you see David Moore be on the team? And if he is definitely going to be special teams. But I want to see Trevor Etienne and Jimmy Horn take over the spot. I do. And then obviously nothing changes with the long snapper and punter here. But they do have Matthew Wright in front of Ryan Fitzgerald right now. and then that's the depth chart. So I want to go into some players with their stock up and some players with stock down. And I want to talk about it real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Hunter Renfro has been playing lights out, and this is what I feel like everybody, any reasonable Panther fan wants. They want to be able to see uh, their play. So a guy come in and play well, right? Um, he's been making, from what I hear with JC Horn, he had an interview with Kay Adams that he's been getting open with ease, getting 5 yard separation. He's a guy that isn't physical. He looks like a guy that you would that would work at a cubicle next to you, right? But the way he runs his routes, the way he's able to get separation is just out of this world. And you don't let it go, you don't let it go of a player like that. Okay. So he's making the team. Hunter Renfro is making the team. What slightly worries me, though, however, is he had a hamstring injury, went back out to practice, and then he retweaked it. And we know how hamstring injuries can linger. So hopefully he can stay healthy. That's gonna be the biggest thing. Is he already proved he can play, but can he stay healthy week to week? Can he get back into that football shape? But again, the way the Hunter Renfro has been playing, you know, it just makes the season even more exciting, and we're looking forward to it even more. So, Lathan Ramson, Lathan Ramson has had a couple good practices recently. He's been looking very, very physical, which we knew he was kind of like even before we drafted him. When I was going and scouting different players during the draft, this was like a mini Trevon Moehrig. This guy is extremely physical. He's great at the line, stopping the run. He's a hard hitter. He has a little bit of liability in coverage, but again, he's a rookie. We'll see how he develops. But this is somebody that's going to contribute on special teams, but also someone that's going to provide decent quality depth at that position. Okay, but he's been having a couple of really good practices back to back, and I don't recall if he played in FanFest or not, but I know like the practices before FanFest, he had a couple of back to back good ones. So been hearing a lot of good things about him. Okay, and then we got Trevin Wallace. I believe this is a. I'm starting to. Yeah, I believe it's Trevin Wallace. I just my mind was tricking me. I'm like, wait, am I right? But Trevin Wallace is having a good camp. This is somebody that I'm really excited about making the next step. Can he? He looks like he's been playing physical, getting more comfortable out there. His personality is coming out, and when that happens again, players are playing fast and they're not thinking as much. So this is somebody that again has been having some good quality reps in practice. Has been playing pretty well. I haven't heard any really negative things about him, whether it's in run defense or coverage. So he's not going to be getting the green Mike Christian Roseboom is. So he's going to be the one that's going to modify the line of scrimmage and the defense and getting plays called from the helmet and all that. But Trevin Wallace, I feel like, could graduate into that position. So I'm really excited to see if the second year player, the third round pick from last year out of Kentucky, seeing how he continued to develop. But the one guy that I have been really excited about this camp has been Tershawn Wharton. He's not going to be on the highlight reel, but this guy, from all reports that I've been hearing, is he is just lighting it up in run defense. Okay, and this is what we need. We need a good, solid run defense because last year we were worse in the league. We gave up 5.5, 6 yards per rush. That's horrible. So he's getting, from what I hear, really good penetration at the line and being able to get to the quarterback too. But I'm the way he's able to set the edge and how consistent he is about setting the edge. I'm really excited about this, and I do think that he will be taking over Ashawn Robinson's um, spot on the unofficial depth chart. I think week 1, and they'll interchange here, but I do think eventually, like throughout the season, he's going to be the starter. They paid him too much for him not to be a starter. They did, and the way he's been practicing, he's going to start. Now let's talk about some stock down. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Ryan Fitzgerald. It, it's just it's just not looking good, bro. Like it's just hopefully again he turn the page and get confident, make some field goals. Can he do it during live games and hopefully takes the position over? But again, with the team that's on the up and up and that's on the upper trajectory, you're going to have to win some close games to make the playoffs and win the division. Can you rely on your kicker to do it? That's what I'm worried about. The close games and us losing a game or two because of that guy. So hopefully not. All right, and then the other one here, Shy Tuttle. So Shy Tuttle, I do think his job is in jeopardy. Really depending on how Cam Jackson uh, plays the rest of this offseason and preseason. But I do think this is a guy that could be on the bubble that may not make the initial 53. Again, they did rework his contract where they saved money, but they made what they're giving him more guaranteed. So if they do cut him, you're not really saving any money. So I still, again, think that makes him more likely to be on the initial 53-man roster. But again, if Cam Jackson plays the way that I showed you that clip with him knocking that offensive lineman on his butt, like he manhandled him, Shy Tuttle's off the team, bro. Like he may make the practice squad. I don't know if a team would pick him up on waivers, but he could be out of here. He could be. But the other one is DJ Johnson. I do not think and this is the arrow isn't necessarily like they've been doing bad. It's just it's more so are they I think there's risk that they don't make the 53-man roster. Now, I do think DJ Johnson, again, he's a really good run stopper, run defender, setting the edge, but we really haven't seen um wait, I haven't seen the best out of him. Like he has the capability of doing better, and I just haven't seen it. I haven't. Like Evero when we drafted him, and Evero vouched for and wanted this guy. But Evero preached being able to stop the run first and get after the quarterback, but I really haven't seen him do that. Now I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'll be honest. I don't know how many snaps he had of being able to get to the quarterback. Like what percentage of snaps he played, all that. But it's just he's not making those steps, and I'm not hearing him making those steps. So this is somebody that you could see may not make the roster. So, but I believe that's it for the slides there. Um, again, thank you guys for watching. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Help me grow so that way I can grow my channel, reach to and be able to reach out and be able to get this content to more Panther fans and be able to engage with you guys when I go live. I will probably start making videos. I still want to do live videos once a week or every other week, but I am going to start doing like more shorter videos that because again, I'm from California, so it's kind of disadvantage for me, like going live at 10 o'clock my time when it's 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right? So I'm going to be probably making videos, posting, creating them, and then posting them in the morning for you guys the next day, so that way it's fresh on your feed. But again, if you do like the content, again, please help me grow. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and then share. I would love for you to be able to share this with some of your friends or people that you know that are Panther fans, just for them to be able to check it out and see if they like what I do and say and how I present the content. So leave a comment as well. Let me know what you think of the pod, what you think of my content, whether it's good or bad. I love constructive criticism, but I'm out for today. Thank you guys for watching, And next time we'll be talking about how the Panthers did week 1. We finally get to see a game against the Browns this Friday. We get our first game the 8th. So I'll most likely make a live video. Either that I might go live Friday night, or I might do it Saturday. I don't know yet, but I definitely will probably go live this weekend. So, and just talk about the game. So, all right. With that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.